Hello, everyone. Just a quick message today. Today's about honesty and able to see things with clarity. One of the problems that we do is because we get emotionally attached to something is we rationalize behavior within ourselves and within other people. In essence, if I do something because I didn't think about it and I did it, I'm going to rationalize that behavior to make it make sense for me so I wouldn't create what I call an anxiety or almost like an internal hypocrisy. So I will rationalize that to make myself feel better about myself. That is normal. Okay, it's normal to do that so you can create some kind of mental stabilization. It's like a defense mechanism. It's for you to be sane. One of the things that we should do instead is look at our behaviors and understand the truth about things. It is, I did that because of this, and it's in not rationalizing it with all kinds of falsehoods to make it make logical sense, but to do it because we have to be honest with ourselves. Being honest with myself was a very long journey. It's like I didn't want to believe certain aspects of my character. I thought that there was a lot of parts of my character that just I didn't want to admit to myself, and that is what created a lot of issues internally with me for so many years. It's like I almost self-tortured myself in my head because I just could not create that feeling. I could not create a contentment with the way I was because I knew why I did the things I did. If I really cut away all the surface level crap, at the end of the day, I really was doing what I was doing because that's exactly how I felt. One thing I've always told people is to consistently watch actions and never listen to words. It's always about the deeds one does in order to be able to see the truth. And we naturally want to rationalize that. Even if there's one explanation, one logical explanation, which we don't want to believe, we're going to find 100 million ways to rationalize that behavior to make it to where it seems that we can accept that kind of behavior. You will not believe the things that I rationalized in the last 5 years for very particular people. And it's hard because you may care about somebody so much, but at the same time you find yourself rationalizing behavior that is so crazy. And I remember there was a particular instance where a certain person in my life did something horrible, but because of my emotional experience and my emotional attachment, it's like I had it justified in my own head why it made sense, but everybody I knew told me you need to disconnect completely from that situation, and somehow I kept finding myself going back to it, and because I had rationalized it. So I did more harm than good to myself by rationalizing it because I didn't want to face the facts. I didn't want to face the music and realize the person was the way they were because their actions clearly demonstrated that. And so that's a big part of it. And the other part of it is the same, being honest with yourself. You do something and you will rationalize it to make it make sense. And you've got to knock that completely out too. You've got to get rid of that preconceived notion as well, because the more you do that, the more you're not going to grow because you can't see your faults. You can't see where you're lacking. And that creates serious problems in your own personal development because it's like, I don't want to admit something. I don't want to admit that maybe I'm not as good as I think at a certain thing, or I don't want to admit that I actually feel just like that, or I don't want to admit that I'm purely using this person. And sometimes it's hard to face it because we realize that we are that way. We're human. We make mistakes, and recognizing it sooner allows you to fix it unless you try to rationalize it with all kinds of behaviors. Actions will always tell the truth, no matter what. And someone can fake it for so long before something is going to slip out. And you can't. It's even what is undone. It's like inaction also speaks. So what you don't do shows as much as what you do, and it's everything you do. And so it's not like you need to do these things to show that you care, because it's also the things you don't do that show that you care. And it comes from a place of true sincerity. And so I hope this message really goes home with a lot of people in the sense of look for sincerity. Look for people with sincerity. They're out there. And I've had the privilege of meeting so many people that I really deeply appreciate them being even a small part of my life. I hope that I could always reciprocate that in the best way possible. So I'm going to continue working on getting these videos out to y'all, and just putting little snippets out there to help you. Maybe it's a piece of advice that'll help somebody. Maybe everybody knows this already, but hopefully you got some benefit from this today, and I thank you very much for your time.